Hi everyone, this is Carrie Beck with How to Homeschool My Child, and I'm here with my daughter Gentry, and we're going to do just a quick little interview about what homeschooling was like because she graduated from homeschool, and many of y'all have had questions about that. We already did one with Hunter, so I'm here for the week with her, so I thought I would ask her a few questions. So to get started, Gentry, why don't you just tell everyone what you did for schooling, and so they have a little background about you.
Sure. So when I first started school, I went to private school for kindergarten through second grade. After second grade, my parents pulled me out. And starting in third grade, I homeschooled all the way through high school. And then after I graduated from high school, I attended Texas A&M. And when I was in high school, we lived in Idaho, and so I played sports with the public school there. So that was a good outlet for me. But yeah, so I started homeschooling in the third grade, homeschooled all the way through high school, and then went to Texas A&M and got my degree.
Good. All right. Well, let's just talk about it. Lots of people want to know what was your favorite part about homeschooling, or what did you not like very much?
I would say, starting with probably the cons first.
Oh.
I was not the first. I was not the most excited about homeschooling. I really struggled first when they pulled me out. For me, it was a big thing of wanting to be around friends and just not having developed homeschool friends yet. And so I really struggled with not being at school. But as we continued to homeschool, it got a lot better. Co-ops were a huge thing for me because I got plugged in with friends and I had an outlet that was not just at home. So that was a big thing for me. I would say one of the best things about homeschooling is also just the amount that the time it takes to school is not the same as being at public school or private school. So I had a lot more freedom. Even in high school, I was probably done with my day by 1 p.m. We started about 8 a.m. I was done by 1, which was cool because then I had a couple hours to either work for the business or do my own thing before having to go to sports practice. So it just gave me a lot of freedom. And so I think that was one of the best things.
Good. So a lot of people also want to know, well, you transition, and you've already told them about schooling. You've transitioned into a college that went a homeschool college. How did that work, and how did you feel prepared or not prepared?
I would say I actually felt more prepared than a lot of my friends that I went to college with. One of the reasons was in high school, we did a program that we watched lectures, took notes. I had a midterm, I had a final, and it was kind of an all-inclusive. It did our history, it did our reading, it was writing, it was kind of all of our liberal arts. And that just really prepared me, especially the note-taking, how to take notes and how to study for these big tests. So I was really able to listen well in lectures, take notes, study well, and I think it really prepared me. I graduated with a honors GPA, and so I think having my homeschool background prepared me a lot better for the transition from high school to college because it is so different. And being able to use my time wisely, I knew what kind of time I needed to study for my test, to do well on my test, and so I think it really prepared me in those ways.
Good. I don't know if you remember, but we were driving to Grandma and Grandpa's, and you were a junior in college, and you said, "Mom, thank you so much for what you did in high school because I am so much more prepared than my friends were when they got to college." And you made the point that you said, "I knew how to take notes, I knew how to study, I knew how to manage my time." And I remember one thing that was important to me is that the kids took some lead in what they wanted to do with their homeschooling. And so on Mondays, they would plan their whole week. In high school, I did not tell them. I don't know if you remember this. Yeah. But, we would talk about it, but they had to come up with a plan for the week and then decide what we were going to do. And then they also had some choices. I don't know if you remember taking an astronomy class in high school. And we went out to the Callahans to look at constellations. Well, and I tell people, who takes astronomy in high school? But she and Ashley wanted to do that, so that was something that we did. How do you feel like homeschooling prepared you for work and the job that you do now? Or not this job, but just jobs in general, working and that type of thing. And it doesn't have to be just homeschooling, even just our whole family.
I think a few things. I think one, and some of it might be a little bit due to my personality, but I think homeschooling also instilled a confidence in me to be able to do things on my own, and be able to accomplish the things that I set my mind to, because, I was able to, like you said, pick and choose some of the things I studied, and so I was confident in those areas. I think it also really gave good leadership skills that I'm really using right now, and just leading others, and knowing how to interact with people.
Yeah.
I think that came from homeschooling, which a lot of people think you don't interact with people, and that's one of the drawbacks. But especially the way we did, we were still very involved in lots of different things, and so I was learned how to interact a lot with adults and how to interact with different people, and then how to lead well, and leading myself well, but then being able to lead others, because we were able to be involved with people that were younger than us. So even in high school, we were helping out with younger kids, whether it was helping babysit or volunteering in different areas. That was able to be something we were able to do.
Well, and I will tell you the same thing I said on Hunters. I did not know any of the answers that she was going to give. I can imagine what the different kids would say, but leadership, most people, if you've been around me very long, you know that leadership is one of my big points, and I think it's important that we raise our kids to lead well. And I did change about halfway through my approach, and it's nice to hear from Gentry that she feels like that actually helped her in her job now to be able to be a leader. And so I think that's something to really consider as far as how you are approaching it. Are you just dictating to your kids? Or are you letting them take some ownership and learning to lead for themselves? And there's so many opportunities. So is there anything else you'd like to share about homeschooling or family or anything? Closing comments?
No, I think I definitely struggled the first year. It was a very rough year. When I was going into third grade, and so I think, but the testament to both my mom and my dad, and just like pursuing that and continuing with that, I think it did give me a great education that prepared me for the rest of my life, and my college education and so on. So I think just encouraging people to stick with it, even if it's hard, because there is a light through the tunnel. It does get better, and I thought it was great that my parents encouraged me. I'm a very social person, so finding me social outlets, things to do. I play a lot of sports, so I was still involved with sports, finding other homeschool co-ops and groups. So I think finding things that are your kids' outlets definitely helps make that transition easier.
Yeah, and you said something about that, and the thought sort of escaped me. But as far as I know what it was. It was hard that first year. I'll be honest, it was hard for me because I knew that Gentry wasn't very happy. So if you've got a child that you're butting heads with, and I don't think we butt heads, I think it was just a hard transition. But Steve and I both were so convinced this is what God wanted for us. I said I would never homeschool. Yes, we got a dog over there. Oh, well. But I believe each year we would go to this and decide, is this what God wants? And I believe if God wants you to be doing this and you're following his lead, then God is going to work through that, even in the hard times, even if it's a hard transition, or there's a situation with one of your kids and their friends, or whatever that situation is. If you're following God, that's the main thing. And, if you put them somewhere and you're not following God, then that's going to be a hard time too. There'll be other sort of problems that you're going to have to solve. So thanks so much for doing this, and thanks so much for spending time with me. I am Carrie Beck with How to Homeschool My Child. Y'all have a great day.